Hi, I'm Lauren Bryant, twin mum, event host, and award-winning small business specialist with a background in automotive and finance. I'm coming up to 10 years of Empower House, where I've helped hundreds of women streamline and scale their business. The greatest thing I've built, though, is an incredible community through my events, the Brunch Club. In over 70 live events, I've created thousands of connections and raised tens of thousands of dollars for charity. Most of all, I created a no-pressure networking space for women to feel seen, heard, and supported. This podcast is an extension of that, where I can share what I've learned, bring amazing speakers to share their story, and keep living the Empower House values: community, empowerment, and education. If you are an ambitious woman in business, welcome. This is for you. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's guest, Heidi Dening, not only has an impressive background in business and leadership, but has also survived things most people will only see in movies. From a paralyzing illness, kidnapping at gunpoint, to natural disasters and petrol bombs, she has been awarded Best International Keynote Speaker and is a best-selling author, an educator, and unsurprisingly, an expert in resilience. Welcome, Heidi. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for the invitation, Lauren.
My pleasure. Would you like to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your story?
Yes. Which story would you like me to start with?
Let's start with your business journey and then things that have happened to you along the way.
Yes. Well, I started my first iteration of my career was as a high school teacher. And I taught in some of the very best and worst schools in Sydney, London, and Vanuatu. And I loved teaching. It was actually all I had wanted to do as a little girl. And I achieved that and I loved it. But what I found was that the wage that I got from being a teacher was not supporting the lifestyle I wanted to live. So I knew I needed to get a second job. I had a choice between being a tennis coach or a personal trainer at the time. I was a dedicated tennis player, so I knew I could always coach. It didn't matter. My whole family and my whole life had been around tennis. But I wanted to challenge myself a little bit, so I did all my qualifications to become a personal trainer. This was many years ago before it was even really a thing, and I started doing training clients before school and after school and on Saturdays. And so I did those two jobs for about 2.5 years before I realized that this was not sustainable. I liked the money in the pocket, of course, but I was just feeling depleted and exhausted and not doing either job well. So I had to make some kind of decision, and had just decided that I'm going to give this a shot. The wonderful thing about teaching at the time, I don't know if that's the case now, is that you can take a year's leave without pay and give things a go. And I had that safety net. So to me, it wasn't really a big risk. My teacher mother and my policeman father thought I was taking a very big risk to be giving up superannuation and a constant wage and sick pay and all that type of thing. But for me, it was something I really wanted to give a go, and I did. And in fact, reached my 12-month goal income-wise in 6 weeks. So I was able to, within a few months, once I knew that was going to continue, I did resign and started my personal training business, which was at the time out of my stinky garage with $200 worth of secondhand equipment. And it grew and grew and grew up to for 17 years until I sold it. And I had to move locations 3 times as we got bigger. I had about 15 trainers worked for me. We had the highest rates of customer retention and staff retention in Australia. And went on to win awards and became industry. I was president of different things within our industry and sold it for the price and the terms I wanted 17 years later, which was something I never thought was going to be possible. Well, I didn't even imagine having a business, let alone one that would grow to the way that one did and be a saleable product. While we did that, I had also developed a foundation. So the personal training company was called Jumpstart Your Life. And then I had Jumpstart Foundation. And because I'd come to Vanuatu when I was 20 years of age, and it was a sliding door moment for me, I really wanted to find a way to give back with education in Vanuatu, because I'm just such a believer that education changes lives. And no matter what role I've had since I was 20, I've always been an educator, and I know the power of it. So I started to come to Vanuatu with groups, and we would participate in a big countrywide exercise fitness event that they had attached to their Independence Day. And then people could stay on a little longer and work on the education projects that I had going on here. So that is how that part of my life unfolded. In 2015, I sold that business, as I said. But as I was drinking French champagne with my check in my back pocket for the business, Vanuatu had its most catastrophic natural disaster in its history hitting, in the form of Cyclone Pam, it was called. And unfortunately, all the projects, the library we built, everything was ruined. So I then spent what was going to be a year's sabbatical of just enjoying my life after selling a business that had opened at 6 a.m. and closed at 8:30 at night, 6 days a week. Found myself doing a lot of fundraising so we could get everything started again. And yeah, we unfortunately got caught up in some local cultural conflict only a number of months later, and that was one of the big moments that kind of changed everything for me. Myself and the team I was leading survived pretty bad violent crime, and spent the next 18 months really recovering physically from the injuries, but also from the PTSD and the emotional scars that had caused. So that's that segment in a nutshell of how I got to there.
Incredible. It's such a huge thing to overcome when you've got, PTSD and that sort of stuff. I do have some experience in that myself, and it's more debilitating sometimes than the physical harm that comes. When you're looking at a major crisis, what is the immediate shift that we need to make to see it as a choice point rather than the end of the road? Because, you're looking at this incredible project that you've put so much time and energy to, and then it just gets wiped out. What do you do next?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things. There's a few things. There's a lot of things I've learned on reflection. The first thing for any business owner audiences that you have here listening, Lauren, one thing that, I grew that personal training business from nothing to something saleable. And, it had a ripple effect of incredibleness. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but this is my word for that. And I just kept learning. I had no idea about business. My family, we didn't even know people who own businesses. So I had no experience with how to run a business. I just kept learning. I'd make mistakes. I'd fail. I'd fall down. I'd get back up again. And I just kept learning and learning and learning until I got to the sale point. So the thing was, because I had this side project, this passion project, I didn't apply the same business principles to that like I did to my day job. And that is a great lesson for me, because I think especially like women, we like to have lots of things on the go, and sometimes the thing that gives us the most money, that's where we put our biggest focus on how to do it well, and then other things don't get that same focus or the same discipline that we need. And so what happened was, when that incident occurred, because I hadn't set up in my personal training, I had like the red bus book, we called it. If I got hit by a red bus on any day, there was every single thing that someone else needed to do to step in and take over that business, and they could do it, which is why my handover to the new business owner was only 2 weeks, because everything was put in place. But I had not done that for my foundation at all. It was just, hustle, hustle, hustle. I love this so much. We just do the very, very best we can. And it wasn't able to continue because me, the owner, the founder, the face of it, I was incapable of continuing, and I hadn't put the things in place. So there's one. That was my biggest learning in regards to business. Secondly, the thing for that particular incident was that I'd had a number of other challenges just going on in my personal life before the violent crime. So I was already struggling to keep my head above water. So by the time that incident hit me, I really had nothing left to be able to dig myself up from rock bottom. So what I've learned from that is when we are in our good times, that is when we need to, what I call, build our resilience bucket, make it strong. Don't let those rusty holes grow in our resilience bucket, because that's where all our capabilities start flowing out. And if we have not built that strength of resilience prior to what I call a petrol bomb moment now, because we all have them. I had literal ones, but everybody else has, grief, divorce, financial struggles, 18-month-old twins. These are big deals that we have to deal with. And many of them, a majority of them bring unexpected challenges that we could never predict. And that's life. We can't avoid that. We're all going to have them. So we have to build our strength before they hit, knowing that they will eventually in some level. So that's what I know now. Like in my good times, I am so much more disciplined with ensuring that I move my body, I eat well, I sleep well. I have, I belong in communities. I nurture my girlfriends. All of those things happen in my good times, because when you've hit rock bottom, you can't do them. It's too late. Everyone will tell you what you need to do to climb back up again. But when you've got nothing, that's really hard.
Yeah.
So that's that work that needs to be done before it, because once the adversity hits, then you have that choice point that you mentioned, where we can either decide that this is the end of our story, this is the end of our project, the end of our business, the end of our marriage, the end of something, or we can fight. We can take small steps, just little ones at a time, to move us towards a better outcome. But if we haven't built things first, we haven't built that resilience first, those choice points are really hard. That's when we start having knee-jerk reactions and can't actually make decisions that are future focused, that our future self will thank us for. They're my greatest learnings.
Incredible. Do you recall what little steps you were taking to bring yourself back to the person or the new person that you were going to become after all of this unfolded?
Yeah, well, I had therapy for one, and that was absolutely necessary. And it took me 3 different ones to find the right person. I think that's always important to say, because not everybody is the right person, without a doubt. And I did try medication. It didn't help me. I had a lot of late night dates with blocks of chocolate, let me say. That was really helpful for that 5 minutes of guzzling. But really, in the end, the most impactful thing was the fact that I had beautiful people around me who loved me and were willing to be patient and to listen and to let me unravel and to let me get to rock bottom without feeling judged. I mean, I was my worst judge. I mean, I couldn't believe who I'd turned into. Like, who is this girl? I don't even know her. And I was so afraid that she was going to be me forever, because I didn't know if at the time, if I could be me again, if I could be better again, if I could, just get through days better. Like, that's, I mean, I'm sure you and anyone who's listening knows that feeling where you feel like there's no hope for something better. It's a horrible, horrible place to be in. And that's why those building connections before the petrol bomb moment, there's a gazillion things that we see in social media of how to self-care and recover and all of that, but they're all helpful. They really are. But nothing to me beats good connection. I think that is the savior. Certainly was for me, and it certainly is. I mean, I've spoken to a lot of people, and I've done a lot of research in regards to people who've gone through terrible traumas and how they have got themselves out of it, and that connection piece is just so important.
Yeah. Community and connection, just everything. That's what humans are made for.
Definitely. We are communal people, and that sense of belonging, it's just so crucial. And sometimes you've got to find that belonging. It doesn't come easily. Of course, if for example, with parents, when in that schooling environment, there's that kind of belonging that goes on, but not everyone gets to experience that. My husband and I were never able to have children, so we never had that belonging in our school community in the places we lived, but we just found it in other ways, and we just had to keep finding it. And you just got to find that way to feel connected with other like-minded people and feel that sense of belonging. It's just a beautiful place to be in, and so incredibly helpful when you're going through a crisis, a big one or a small one.
Yes. Absolutely. When life isn't going to plan, why do you think, as business owners, as humans, we hold on to the original plans that we've made so tightly, even though obviously things aren't going well?
Yeah. Oh, it's hard, isn't it? Because I mean, we are programmed, well, especially as business owner, like make the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan. When you're little, what are you going to be when you're grown up? Like, everything is about this plan that we're supposed to create for ourselves and stick with and do whatever it takes to just stay on that path, stay on that Dorothy's yellow brick road to get to Oz, This is what we're programmed to do. So, gosh, when we know that path, that yellow brick road is no longer leading to somewhere we may not actually want to go there anymore because we have changed as humans, because we adapt and change all the time, or it's just not going to be possible because of other things that have gone on. I mean, that particular foundation I had, that was one of the most important things in my life. And I couldn't imagine my life without doing what we were doing, without building the literacy of the next generation, of taking people over and seeing, 100% of all donations went to the project. We, as managing committee and all that, took no money. Like, to take people there and see the impact they were making and see how the joy of children being able to read, not just beautiful stories, but of course, literacy is needed so we can read medication, fill out when there's elections, start small businesses, read signs. Like, it's so important. And the thought of not being able to progress that, I just didn't know where I would go, where I would put my efforts and my passion and love and commitment and time at all. And so I get it when we have to make these new plans, and it's truly not easy at all, because first we've got to divorce the last one, right? We've got to somehow cut it off. And that's like, snipping that umbilical cord that made us who we are. And it's just not easy. I want to say that. So I don't have an easy answer for it, because I do know personally it's not easy. All I do know is that if we can't continue in the direction that we thought we were going to be going, and we're not going to get to the destination that we thought we would, we've just got to know and trust in the fact that there are other ways and there are other places. And this is something we need to remind ourselves of. And again, in conversations with people who are beautiful around us, to just have this adaptability. Like, we can't live in this world right now without adaptability. When I'm doing personal or professional development programs in organizations, we have this segment that I call "What If Adventures." What if this happens? Everyone is allowed to just say an ending to it. There's no right or wrong, but it's building that adaptability muscle, the creativity muscle, the innovation muscle of, you might have a different end to a what if challenge, Lauren, to what I do, and that's okay. Trusting each other, using those ideas to find the new path, to find a better solution, to be more confident, better humans than we already are. That's what we need to do. Keep evolving and keep adapting. I mean, I suppose that's my long-winded answer to that question. I hope that made some kind of sense.
Perfect sense. In your book, her middle name is Courage. I love the title. You talk about transforming pressure into performance. So how are you defining true self-leadership when a business owner feels like everything is falling apart around them?
I think, first of all, it goes back to doing that work when times are good. This is what true self-leadership is, acknowledging that sometime, either this afternoon, next week, next year, I'm going to have one of those petrol bomb moments in my life. I can't control what happens to me. All I can do is control how I respond. And self-leadership is all around, okay, knowing me, knowing what I'm capable of with the types of responsibilities that I have in my life. What is it that I know I need to do right now to keep my head above water for if and when something happens? And then, of course, when the pressure does get too much, when we come overwhelmed and it feels too hard, what are the things I know for me that will help me to continue to perform? Is it that I have a mentor that, that could be your fairy godmother, it could be a business coach, it could be a colleague that you met at an industry event 3 years ago, whoever that might be. But is there someone that's that one person to reach out to? I think that's really crucial. Secondly, it's knowing that we don't have to take giant leaps. Our performance after something big happens will not happen overnight. They will be small steps, and we have to take small little steps. I saw this amazing speaker a number of years ago at a conference. He's actually Sir John Kerwin. He's a former All Blacks player, and he has this great expression that I teach all the time called DOT, then DAT. And it's an acronym for do one thing, then do another thing. And I love it because we often think we've got to have a 200-page strategic plan for us to reach wherever we're going. But it means nothing if we don't take some action. And when we take a small little step and we actually do it and we see a little outcome, we get a little more confident, and then we can take another step. And it's all those tiny little micro steps that can help us perform after we have something, a big pressure moment. And that's self-leadership. It's not thinking, oh, gosh, I'm listening to all these people who are like, they've had this happen and they've had that happen and look where they are now. They did a gazillion micro steps. They definitely did a gazillion micro steps. So we just need to trust in that process, that they will lead us somewhere in the end.
Dot, then dat. I like that one. That's a good one.
It's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have it on my inside of my pantry because, if I'm procrastinating, I usually go to the pantry to find something. And so I open it and then I've got dot, then dat. It's like, Heidi, do one thing, not just eat something else. That's my best spot for it.
Snack procrastination. You and I are similar creatures, I think.
Okay. That's what you do too?
Oh, yeah. I'm hungry. I need a little. Yeah, no, you don't. You need to sit your butt down. Oh, goodness. You have worked with a whole range of people, from your kids in the villages right up to global brands like Louis Vuitton. What is that one universal thing that stops people from taking ownership when the plans fail and things are falling apart?
Fear of the unknown, fear of the what's next, fear of that's not how I thought it was going to be, fear of what happened to the 200 strategic plan that I've worked so hard at. It's fear. And fear's a nasty emotion if we let it take over us. But of course, fear is also a motivating emotion. When we feel it's like that. What is it? Feel the fear and do it anyway. that kind of thing. I know it sounds really, motivational, but it's fear. Fear will hold us back without a doubt, and it's allowed to for a little while. We can feel fear. We can be knocked to our knees for a while. We can have the doona over our head for a while because we need to. We need to recover. We need to be in the fetal position sometimes, and that's all right. But it's then we need to choose. That's when we need to, find the hope again, make the choice to do one thing and then make the choice to do another thing to get out of that fear state. And I it is a hard place. It's paralyzing, fear. It really is paralyzing. But I think that's where this, just doing one little thing, being in the habit of doing that already in the good times helps you when the fear takes over. And that's self-leadership, right? That is us leading ourselves when things are tough. That is what it is. Because no one else will do it, can do it, will or can. They might want to, but they can't do it for us. We can only do it ourselves.
I guess that's when it comes into being your own worst enemy or not. Correct.
Yeah.
What does the true proactive preparation look like for business setbacks that you can't control? You can't see everything coming. But what does it look like to proactively get prepared for when the shit hits the fan?
Yes. And doesn't it do that a bit too many times? We wish. Look, I think the way we can be proactive is firstly working on ourselves and doing the things that we know are going to help us keep our head above water when things go belly up. And that's different for everybody. Some will meditate, some will journal, some will exercise, some will, belong to groups, whatever that might be. It's really important that we have a business community around us. I think that is absolutely crucial. And I know that has been a savior for me at different times, that there are people, because our family and friends don't often understand what we do or why we do it, do they? They think we're kind of mad for not just getting a job and having that safety place. And of course, people, even employees, will have really difficult things happen to them in their professions. But that uncertainty when you've got your own business that you may not then get an income is another level altogether. So having good people around, like I've said before. Secondly, having the systems and processes in place so people can step in and you in a more practical way if you do have to take a month off to recover from something. And I think, if you've already been a good human beforehand, then reaching out and people putting their hand up to say, yes, I'll support you, will happen. So it's like building the nurturing bank beforehand, already doing good things for other people. And I don't mean in a strategic, weird way. I just mean because that's how, and I know it sounds that way, but I know that if I am seeing that someone is a bit wobbly and I'm going out of my way to support them when they're needing to, I don't store it as to say, well, good, I've got one up my sleeve for when I need them. But of course, that's just a natural thing that happens. People will help others. It's that, law of reciprocity that we all know works.
It does. Just being noticed sometimes is all people need.
Oh, yeah.
And it is difficult, especially when you are a leader and you feel like, well, you're a business owner, you feel like you should have it all together. Sometimes it's really difficult to put your hand up and go,
Yes.
I need help now,
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yes, it is really hard. Yeah. And again, if we've waited until that crisis point, we've waited too long. We've waited too long.
We've spoken a little bit about fear being really paralyzing, and when we've got these things going on and it feels like the world is crumbling around us and all of that sort of stuff. When we're feeling paralyzed, what are some practical steps that people can take to stop that panic and start thinking clearly so they can take little tiny steps to get them out of harm's way or out of that situation?
A performance tool that I teach from stage and in programs is that music is a powerful performance tool when fear is taking over, because we all have that one song that we absolutely love that can make us want to dance on a table. Mine is The Killers, Mr. Brightside, FYI. And when I hear that song, I tell you what, no matter how much fear and paralyzed I'm feeling, I don't know, I can just, my shoulder shakes, my toes might tap, and it's just that movement that, and the joy of that song that can let me do that one next little thing, which is get out of my head, which of course is what happens. We're just so in our head, and get into my body and shaking it off. And I mean, again, everyone has a different way, but I know that, music is so powerful. And by starting there, oh gosh, that can just make such a difference.
Yeah, you've spoken a little bit about moving your body and eating right and getting the sleep and all of that sort of stuff. Does that come from your fitness business, or is this the tennis background? Where has all of that influence come from for you?
Yeah, look, I've moved in some way, I suppose, all my life. Yes, I was always Miss Sporty Spice. So definitely it's been a big part of my life, without a doubt. I know it's not for everyone, and this is the thing, when I know that when I'm really low, when big things have happened, like I find it impossible to exercise, to move, even though I know what a difference it's going to make. I am one who can habitually do it and one who loves to do it. I always think then and there, gosh, the people, and there's, I'm a small proportion of people on this planet who really like to exercise and move body. I know that. Imagine the majority of people, what are they turning to when they're feeling like I'm feeling right now? It must be so hard. But of course, everyone has their own thing. And that's why this acknowledgement, this self-awareness is so crucial for all of us to know what it is that we need. And I mean, I could list a gazillion things of what we could do, but none of, you may not want to dance on a table to Mr. Brightside at all, Lauren. That might not make you feel better in the least. Whereas for me, I can do anything when that song's on.
So it's really about knowing yourself and the way that
kindness is going to be received in your own body.
For sure. Yeah. Brain and body.
Brain and body. And you were named Best International Keynote Speaker. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Have you got some favourite places that you have been to speak, or some favourite experiences?
Oh, yes. I do have the most wonderful memory from, I was speaking to 6,500 of the world's leading insurance and finance professionals in Nashville, Tennessee, in the USA a few years ago. And it was to be my biggest audience. And at this particular conference, it's the $1 Million Roundtable, MDRT they call it, and they call it if you get chosen to speak there, it's like being chosen for the Olympic team. Like, it is the golden thing of speaking. So I was chosen to speak there. I couldn't believe my luck, and everyone kept saying, "What? How many people? Are you nervous?" I'm like, "No, not at all. Look, I think that many people will energize me. I'm energized by people. I can't even." Like, I'm so excited to be in front of that many people. And I had done the work. I can't tell you the amount of hours of practice that I put in, but it was a gazillion hours. And then we got the program about 2 weeks before of because it was a 3-day conference of where everyone's speaking. And as I'd said before, I've come from a tennis background, and I've got all my gurus that I love. And one of my gurus that I loved in tennis is Dylan Alcott. And, he's won gold medals in both tennis and basketball, Paralympic, Australian of the Year, like all-round amazing guy. Dylan is speaking just before me. And I read the program. I'm like, this can't be happening. This can't be happening that an Olympian across 2 sports, the Australian of the Year. The worst thing I did is I go onto YouTube straight away and I watch some other speaking he's done, and he's funny. He's got the best stories. And I'm like, oh my God. Then there's little old Heidi Dening coming on after him. Like, the crowd's just going to be so disappointed. And like, it was just the worst feeling. And I'd had a girlfriend who teaches people to speak better. Call out to you, Michelle Bowden, saved me. She'd said months before, Heidi, if it changes and you get really nervous, call me. I've got some tools to help you. Anyway, I call her immediately. I'm on the couch at home watching these YouTube. I call Michelle. I'm like, this has happened. And she gives me some strategies, which I am able to put in place. But I get to Nashville, and the night before we're speaking, we're at this speakers VIP thing, and I have what they have with a minder. It's like quite remarkable, this whole setup thing. And the minder knew of my fangirling of Dylan. Anyway, she sees me across the room, try to find him, and brings him over. And anyway, I start talking to him, pretending that, I'm just cool and everything's fine. And we just exchanging stories of our time in Nashville and the different music we'd seen. And then I said to him, oh, look, Dylan, I've got to tell you, I've been a fangirl forever, and shitting my pants to be going on stage after you. I'm so nervous, and la, 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 la. And he's like, oh, Heidi, that was before. Now we're mates, so don't even worry about that. You're going to be fine. And it was just so generous of him. And then on the day we're in the green room together before we go on, and he's wheeling up and down, getting in the zone, and I'm walking up and down, getting in the zone. It's so loud out the back. Like, the back of the stage is like half a football stadium. It's massive with all the tech. Anyway, I didn't hear him come up to me, and I have to be careful of what I say out loud with my language of what he said to me. But he says, Heidi, you look like a effing crazy lady. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, you look like an effing crazy lady. And because I'm quite, I was a Spanish gypsy in my past life, so I speak with my body. And because you couldn't hear anything, and I'm just like doing it on fast forward while I'm trying to remember my words and blah, blah. Anyway, he comes over, he says, look, I just wanted to say good luck. when I come off, I'll stay. I'm going to watch you. I'm going to be there when you get off. And I tell you, that guy, he came off stage. He waited when I came off. He was there to high-five me before he went off, got on a plane, went to New York to meet the CEO of Nike. But he waited and watched me, and I just like, no wonder I've been fangirling you forever, because you are one amazing human.
That is an amazing story. What a guy.
What a guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
And I've got great selfies with him as well. Most importantly, right?
Oh, that is fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. Oh my goodness. I had goosebumps. I love that. I have some questions to share with you. At my event, the Brunch Club, I have these connection cards because we're about connecting, not just breaking ice. So I've chosen 3 for you.
Okay.
And the first one is, a genie grants you 3 wishes, but none of them can directly benefit you. What are they and why?
Free education for all children, right up to end of tertiary, actually, not just children. Free education worldwide. No more animal cruelty, and no more unexpected. Oh, no, that would be for me. I was going to say no more unexpected adversities. That would be really great. Sorry, I'm the one benefiting from that. My third one would be peace in the world. I know that's my quick answer.
Beautiful. Going for Miss World.
And something we need right now more than ever. Yeah.
Yeah. We could use a bit of peace around here for sure.
We sure could. Yeah.
You are on a deserted island and I can only have 3 things. What do you choose?
A really good book, a really good friend, and a bottle of vodka so I could make vodka and coconut cocktails at the end of every day watching the sunset.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. If you could live anywhere in the world for a year, where would it be and why?
Well, I live in Vanuatu, so that would have always been my goal, but I'm actually doing it now. I would like to live for a year in Barcelona, in Spain. I would like to tap back into this Spanish gypsy heritage that I have some belief, I don't know why, that I was part of many times before, and I'd be able to learn the language, which I've always wanted to speak fluently in Spanish, and eat all those yummy tapas and the food and the culture, and I love it so much. So that would definitely be where.
Oh yeah, Barcelona is fabulous. Absolutely.
It is.
Lovely. Is there anything else that you want to share that you haven't already shared today?
No, I don't think so. I mean, people, if they want to find out more, there's, I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and I'd love for people to connect with me there and let me know if there was anything today that may help them get through one of their big choice point moments. I hope that has been the outcome of our conversation today, Lauren.
Thank you so much. I love the choice point. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me today. What was your website so we can find you online?
It's HeidiDening.com, and that's Dening with 1 N, DENING, all one word.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing so openly as well.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me on your show, Lauren.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. I hope you loved this episode. If you did, please remember to share it with somebody else who you think will enjoy it too. I would love it if you leave a review, which helps me reach more people just like you. And don't forget to come and join me on Instagram at empower.health. Thank you, darling.